Namaste. Welcome everyone. Linda, have you got any blocks to sit on? Yeah? Okay, fine. I thought you were just sitting on the floor, that's fine. Okay, so we're going to learn this new mantra, Om Namah Shivaya Gurave. I bow to the goodness within myself, the true eternal teacher, Shiva, the embodiment of auspiciousness and consciousness. This essence inside of me takes the form of pure joy, awareness and bliss, Sat, Chit, Ananda. Always present, luminous and full of peace, Purna. This essence is my true nature. I salute the Divine Mother in all her forms, full of light and always supporting me. Inhale deeply for Om. Chant 2 lines and then when we call it back to me. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchitananda Motaye. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchitananda Motaye. Nishprapanchaya Shantahaya Narayani Namostude, Narayani Namostude, Nishprapanchaya Shantahaya, Narayani Namostude, Narayani Namostude. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchitananda Motaye. Nishprapanchaya Shantahaya Narayani Namostude, Narayani Namostude. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchitananda Motaye. Nishprapanchaya Shantahaya Narayani Namostude, Narayani Namostude. Together. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchitananda Motaye. Nishprapanchaya Shantahaya Narayani Namostude, Narayani Namostude. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchitananda Motaye. Nishprapanchaya Shantahaya Narayani Namostude, Narayani Namostude. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, peace, peace, peace. Bring your hands into Anjali Mudra. Offer your practice today to someone you love, human being, animal being, or a nature being. Bring them into your mind's eye, visualize them. Dedicate your practice to them. Namaste. Welcome back, everyone. Feels like it's been forever. I hope I can remember. It's a good job you didn't come to the Tuesday class because I couldn't remember how to teach yoga anymore. So what am I supposed to do? Okay, so you have the new, this term's practice sheet. If any of you weren't here last term and you didn't have the practice sheet for last term, ask me for it at the end of the class. So this one is a little bit more based on backbending, so it will be like a sort of practice. You could do the previous one on one day and this on another day. Next one will probably be twisting, so there'll be a series of them. And this is the same as the other one. It's quite an extensive practice on here. It takes an hour and a half to do the whole thing. But of course it can be broken into segments and you can adapt it to the amount of time that you have available to create your own personal practice. There's 3 different vinyasas of backbending. There's the makrasana one, which is in the middle of the second row. Well, there's actually 4, because that can also be done not on the forearms, but also with the hands on the floor in Bhujangasana Cobra, that same sequence. We're probably going to do that one today. And then you have a little connecting vinyasa. And then the next one is Shalabhasana, which is locust pose. There's a series of vinyasas we do in that. Another little connecting sequence. And then there's the Dhanurasana, the bow pose sequence. And I haven't put the whole sequence in there. It's just to remind you. You'll learn the practices and so you remember them. And then there's another little vinyasa there. So these are those little vinyasas between the backbends. As you can choose them, mix them up, and use the ones that you want to use for your practice. On Tuesday, I described the whole class in detail, and then I realized we're nearly at the end of the class. So I'm not going to do that. So, but there's a few things. So I put the Ding Namaskar at the beginning, which some of you are familiar with. Sometimes you can do Ding Namaskar. You don't always have to do Ding Namaskar. You can start with Hasta Vinyasas. You can start with the Surya Namaskar, sun salutation. Or you can start with Uddiyana Bandha, depending on where you are that day, what you're doing, what time of day it is, how you feel. So anything on that top row up to Uddiyana Bandha can be the opening part of your practice. Okay? So you can devise a practice from this sheet if you've got 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 45 minutes, or an hour and a half. So, anything else I need to say? It'll all become self-explanatory as we learn it. I've gone to the traditional format for shoulder stand, headstand here, which is shoulder stand, then headstand, then shoulder stand again, or whatever variation you're working on. So the first shoulder stand you'll see is 6 breaths, and the headstand would then be 12 breaths, which I don't think I've written on there. So you double the time that you spent in the first shoulder stand in the time you spend in the headstand or your variation of headstand. And then you do shoulder stand again. It's a second shoulder stand in which you do the variations. So this traditional way of doing it, it sort of compounds the effects of the shoulder stand and the headstand by doing it this way. I can talk about that a bit more another day. And then the Maha Mudras, they come after the inversions. I've put Kapalabhati as the first part of the pranayama sequence, but it's still too hot for Kapalabhati. So we'll drop back to Shitali again until the weather gets cool. And then Ujjayi Liloma, which you'll be familiar with, we'll do that. That's about it, really. Does that make sense? Any questions? There's one glaring mistake that I've put in here. Well, on the top row at the right-hand side where it says Virabhadasana 2, Warrior 2, that's actually Warrior 1, not Warrior 2. So change that when you get a chance. Oh yeah, I've put 2 twists in. So the twists after the back bend's quite important. The first one is the Ardha Matsyendrasana, which is kind of a simpler twist. It can be done with one leg straight if necessary, or the standard pose. And then next to it is Gomukhasana, where you're sitting in between the feet with the knees on top of each other. And that's a slightly more advanced pose, but it's a really great pose for the hips, for the ankles, and for the knees. And in that, the spinal twist is quite powerful. We will do that. We'll work on that a little bit for those of you who can. And I'm going to work a little bit more. There's going to be a bit more bandha work in this practice. So normally we do, where you see Uddiyana Bandha on the top row, Uddiyana Bandha is what we do in Tataka Mudra, you know, where we lay on the back, bring the arms over the head, fully empty the lungs, gaze into the navel, draw the navel in and up towards the spine when we're on the back. Yes? Everybody remember that? So that is the best way of learning Uddiyana Bandha, which you've been doing. And now we move on to Uddiyana Bandha standing, where you can do a more powerful Uddiyana Bandha. And that is a preparatory technique for Agnisara, where you pump the abdomen with the lungs empty, and Nauli, where you roll the abdominal viscera from side to side and back to front, which is a more advanced practice, which some of you will be able to learn. But that is really one of the most powerful practices for the health of the internal organs, and also for raising prana, kundalini. Okay? So shall we get into it? Let's make a start. We'll start with the Ding Namaskar, just remind you how that goes. So facing east, which is that way. And stand in the sort of towards the middle of your mat and stagger yourselves a little bit so you can fold forward sideways with the arms over your head. And you also don't want to be too close to the wall, so you hit the wall when you fold. Salutation to the directions, really a salutation to Mother Nature. Mother Nature here. Standing in Tadasana. Exhale, Anjali Mudra. Ujjayi breathing. Inhale, arms widen overhead, flip your palms. Exhale, press your palms very gently. Move the hips back, draw the tummy in, look into the navel, make a number 7. All the air out of the lungs, hold the breath out, abdomen in and up, Uddiyana Bandha. Flip the palms, inhale, come up. Exhale, quarter turn to the right. Inhale. Press the palms, exhale, fold halfway. Just by moving the hips back, sucking the navel in and looking into the navel. At the end of the breath, hold the breath out, pause. Chin down, look navel. Flip the palms, inhale, come up. Exhale, quarter turn. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Press the palms gently. Hold the breath out. Salutations to the guardians of the West. Flip the palms, inhale, come up. Exhale, quarter turn. Inhale, lift up out of your hips, out of your rib cage. Keep the length, exhale, fold. Hands in prayer. Hold the breath out, Uddiyana Bandha. Salutations to the guardians of the North. Inhale up. Exhale, quarter turn. Hands in prayer, stretch up Look up, see the thumbs, inhale fully. Hold the breath, salutations to guardians of the heavens. Keeping the hands in prayer, exhale, fold all the way, bring the fingertips to the floor. Empty the lungs, hold the breath out. Salutations to Mother Earth. Flip the palms, inhale, all the way up. Exhale, fold halfway with the arms at 45 degrees and the palms facing up. Salutations to the intermediate directions. Arms forward, flip the palms, push the hips back, come up, inhale. Keep the chin down, gazing into the heart. Exhale, bring the thumbs over the center of the chest, Anjali Mudra. Salutations to the inner light of consciousness. Take an inhale. Take an exhale. Stand in Tadasana. Turn to face front. Hasta Vinyasas for shoulders and chest. Inhale, arms widen overhead, Ujjayi breathing. Flip your palms. Separate the palms, arch back. Sweep the arms in a big circle. Shoulder level. Pause. Inhale, arms widen overhead. Try to keep breathing to the end of the movement. Stretch your breath. Exhale, arms forward and down, palms facing down and wide, and the same breath. Hold the breath out, chest up, chin down, Uddiyana Bandha. Draw the navel in and up. Inhale, arms forward, flip your palms, all the way up. Exhale, widen down. And again, inhale. Arch back, exhale, sweep the arms. Inhale, widen overhead. Lift a little more. Keep the length in the spine. Exhale, forward. Keep exhaling till you reach the end of the movement. Move your arms right back. Squeeze your shoulder blades, chin down. Empty lungs, Uddiyana Bandha. Inhale, forward and up. Exhale, widen down. Stand in Tadasana, gaze heart, take a breath. Inhale, widen overhead. Exhale, sweep the hands behind you and interlock the fingers. Press the palms and the shoulder blades together. Optional, you can turn the hands and push the palms away. And then inhale. Lift the chest, hold the breath, arch back. Exhale, stand up. Inhale, lift the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades. Hold the breath, arch back. Pull down into the hands, push the chest up. Keep the gaze to the tip of the nose. Exhale, stand up. Do one more. Take a strong inhale and a strong exhale. Release your hands. Surya Namaskar. We'll do one. Inhale. Exhale, Anjali Mudra. Om Mitri Namaha. Arms up. Hold the breath in. Om Ravi Namaha. Fold. Hold the breath out. Om Sari Namaha. Little inhale. Exhale, squat. Fully empty the lungs. Om Banavi Namaha. Little inhale. Hop or step back. Chaturanga hold. Empty the lungs. Om Kagi Namaha. All the way down. Full prostration. Hold the inhale. Om Pushni Namaha. Back Chaturanga. Hold. Om Hiranyagabe Namaha. Up dog. Hold. Om Mariche Namaha. Down dog. All the air out of the lungs. Hold the breath out. Om Adiche Namaha. Forward. Squat down. Empty the lungs. Hold the breath out. Om Savitri Namaha. Straighten the legs. Exhale, fold. Hold the breath out. Om Maki Namaha. Flip the palms, inhale up. Prayer to the heart. Look heart. Hold the breath out. Om Bhaskari Namaha. Tadasana. Uddiyana Bandha. Bring the feet slightly wider than your hips. It's been new to some of you, so it's a full exhale through the mouth. I show you once. Exhale. Bending the knees, squatting down a little bit, and then arms go straight, chest rolls up, chin goes to sternum, and you press down into the hands, let the shoulders come up, and press down for all your worth, and suck the lower abdomen in and up towards your spine and your heart. Keeping the knees slightly bent, the arms straight and the back straight. Don't round your back. Keep your back nice and straight and lift out your sacrum. When you want to release, soften the knees, release the Uddiyana Bandha, the abdominal lock, lift your chin, stand up and inhale. Okay? So one thing you want to, there's two things that you really want to be aware of. The first one is when you do this, you're trying to fully empty your lungs. What happens all the time, you empty your lungs like that, and then as you lift up, there's a tendency to do a little inhale. Don't do the little inhale. You want the air, as minimum amount of air in your lungs as you can get. Because if you've got air in your lungs and then you do the Uddiyana Bandha, you'll feel pressure. Now, the pressure will be in the head. So if you're feeling that you've still got too much air in your lungs, you need to do it again and start again. The way that you stop the pressure build up in the head is with Jalandhara Bandha, means net lock, which means a net here, it throws a net in the throat, which stops the prana moving into the head and the pressure moving into the head. And so when you do this movement, you've exhaled, and when you come up, it's really important not to, as you push into your hands, to make your back round. If you make your back round like this, you can't complete the Jalandhara Bandha properly, which is the chin going to the chest. The chest has to roll up in order for the chin to roll towards it to complete the Jalandhara Bandha, which will seal the prana. So that's the first lock. So it's exhale, straighten the arms, chest rolls up. Without breathing in, chin goes down, and then I suck the abdomen strongly in and up. And when I do that, I'm naturally doing Mula Bandha. So you can forget Mula Bandha, which is the perineum or the anal sphincter. Forget that. Just concentrate on abdomen in and up, and the action in the pelvic floor will come by itself. Okay? No? Yeah, good. Okay, good. Shall we do one? Yeah, I was going to say, when you come out, so when you've done it, and you hold it, and it's very forceful. There's nothing subtle about this. It's like you're sucking that in for all your worth and up for all your worth. It's powerful, more powerful than you did in the supine position. It's not so possible to do it so powerfully there. But when you want to come out, you've held it, you've lifted up, you've kind of like you're coming towards the end. The first thing you do is drop the abdomen and the pelvic floor. Let that go first, so there's no pressure. And then when you've done that, you can lift the chin and inhale. Don't keep the pressure in the abdomen, but keep that sucked in and lift the chin, because it will surge the pressure into your head. Okay? Which can be interesting. It's like a trip. Okay, you ready? Inhale. Through the mouth. Straighten the arms, roll the chest up, roll the chin down, seal the throat, press into the arms, shoulders up, abdomen up and back towards the spine for all your worth. Keep the knees slightly bent, make sure your arms are straight. Chin down, the chin's on the sternum. To release the abdomen, soften the knees, stand up a little bit, release the throat and inhale. Okay, any questions? Okay, let's do another one. Inhale. I'll tell you one thing. You don't have to go mad with the exhale. You don't have to go mad. All you've got to do is get the air out of the lungs. When you get used to it, you don't need to do that at all. You can just through the nose even, and you can still get all the air out of the lungs. But this action in the beginning, it teaches you to feel what it's like to be really empty, because our lungs aren't very often really empty. So it's good for that reason, but you don't need to go wild with it. The reason why you don't need to go wild with it is because big exhales through the mouth lose a lot of prana. Okay, and we're trying to this is an action which concentrates and raises prana, kundalini. And once you've learned to do it, when I do it, it's more like so. I am breathing out through the mouth. Mostly I actually do it through the nose now, but for a long while I did it through the mouth. But I'm trying not to let all my prana out. Yeah?
Should you swallow before?
You can swallow to help with Jalandhara Bandha. So if when you come up and you bring the chin down, you feel pressure in your throat. Anybody feel that? Mm-hmm. So the thing to do is to come up. As you swallow, just when you feel the swallow reflex in your throat, seal the throat. At that point, the throat it will be more relaxed. Yeah? Okay, inhale. Don't breathe in when you come up. Lift the chest up and bring the chin onto it. Push into the hands. Lower abdomen in and up, and then sort of relax the abdomen a bit and just push into the hands more so it deepens by itself. When you need to come out, soften the knees, release the abdomen, stand up, inhale. Okay, one more. Anyone feeling dizzy? Yeah, if you're feeling dizzy, 2's enough. Don't do a third one. Inhale. Okay. When you're ready, come out. Okay, so take a couple of deep breaths. Breathe quite strongly after that. Everyone feel okay? So if you do it and it makes you feel a bit dizzy, which is common, it's perfectly all right. You just gradually build up over time. You might just start with 1, and then when you feel comfortable with it, do 2, then 3. Working up to 5 is usually enough. And so how long do you hold it for? You want to hold it to your comfortable capacity. There shouldn't be strain. So when you release and you come up, it shouldn't be you're gagging for the breath. You want to be able to come up and still breathe in smoothly. If you're really struggling for that breath, you've held it too long. The way to increase the capacity, which increases the power, is to count Om numbers. So when you're holding it, like this, chin down, on 1, on 2, on 3, mentally to yourself, get your comfortable number and stay with that until you feel really easy there, then add 1 on. And you can work up. 10 is for a normal practitioner, a hold of 10 is usually enough. You can go more, you can go 15. I know people have even do 20, but counting those Om numbers to 10 is a very good level to begin with, doing 3 of them. Very powerful practice. Any questions? Okay. Ideally, empty stomach. It's a traditional practice first thing in the morning. It can be done, traditionally it's done in 2 places in the practice, either right at the beginning, and you'll see some of the Krishnamacharya practices, the first posture he will do, or mudra, the first thing he'll do in his practice is Tataka mudra. He'll do that on the back. That's the first thing before he does anything else in many of the practices that he recommends. But you can, and this is a version of that really, a more powerful version of that. So you can do it right at the beginning, like the first part of your practice in the day, or classically it often comes right after the sun salutation, which is where I'll put it in the practice. So you've done a little bit of movement, you're a little bit freer, it's kind of like not quite so, doesn't blow your brains quite as much. Okay? So they're the 2 places I would recommend it. Empty stomach, do it first thing in the morning ideally. None of you have eaten anything I know today, so you'll be fine. Turn to face the side, down into Tadasana. We'll do the standing sequence. Inhale, arms to shoulder level. Exhale. Hop or step, triangle distance. Inhale, arms overhead, flip the palms. Exhale, right foot out, left foot in, square the hips to the front for warrior 1. Move the front foot across, turn the back foot in very sharply. Move the front heel across so it's in line with the back heel or wider, so you can square the hips completely to the front. Inhale, arch back, but keep the gaze on Taraka. So for this whole sequence that you're doing at the moment, the warrior 1, keep your gaze on the horizon line, Taraka. Inhale, arch back, push down into the feet and lift out of your hips. As you exhale, bend the front knee and bring the arms wide and to shoulder level with the palms facing up. As you inhale, straighten the front leg, interlock the fingers, keep looking straight ahead and arch back. Push the left hip forward so you stretch the psoas on that side. Exhale, bend the knee, sweep the arms in a big circle. Inhale, widen up. Arch back. Exhale, widen down. And just hold there for 3 breaths. Keep your shoulders over your hips. Bend your knees well. Tuck your tailbone towards your pubic bone. Lift your lower abdomen in and up. Ujjayi breathing, please. After your 3, it can be 3 or 6 breaths. We're going for 3. Interlock the fingers, flip the palms, keep the front knee bent this time. Inhale, arms over the head, arch back. If your balance is good, you can now drop the head back and look up. Only if your balance is good. Otherwise, keep horizon line. And exhale slowly, keeping the front knee bent. Bring the hands to the floor, either side of the front foot. Inhale, raise the back leg parallel with the floor. Raise the arms parallel with the floor, beside your hips or over your head with the hands in prayer. 3 breaths. Warrior 3. Hands beside the hips, Marcus. Stretch the hands back beside your hips for you. Yeah. Chest up. Everybody lift your chest up if you can. Good. The fingertips can stay on the floor if you need. After your 3 slow breaths, slowly exhale and bring the back foot down where it was. Flip your palms. Inhale, come up, arch back. Exhale, Trikonasana Sthiti. Turn to the side, feet 30 degrees, arms shoulder level. Take an inhale and exhale. Inhale, arms overhead, flip the palms, turn to the left. Exhale. Inhale, arch back. Exhale, bend the knees, sweep the arms in a big circle. Do 2 more vinyasas like that, and then hold for 3 breaths. The leg goes really straight when you come up in the vinyasas. And when you go down, see if you can just go a little more deeply each time, moving the left hip forward. Twinge in your back? Yeah. Okay, don't arch back. Okay. Yeah? Just come up straight. Does that feel all right? Yeah.
I'll try again.
Okay, see how you feel, but don't force it. 3 breaths in the actual asana. And then you interlock the fingers and you come up, arch back with the front knee bent, optional look up. Long, slow exhale with strong Ujjayi, hands to the floor. On the inhale, try to lift everything straight into Warrior 3 with your variation. You need to keep your hands on the floor and just work on the strength in the back leg. Keep the chest up. Feel free. Really push into the back leg. Exhale, back foot where it was. Flip the palms, inhale, come up, arch back. Hold the breath in, hold the pose for a second or 2. And then exhale, Trikonasana Sthiti, turn to the side, arms shoulder level. Inhale there. Exhale, soften the knees, hop or step the feet together. Inhale. Exhale, lower your arms. Standing Tadasana, look into the heart, take a breath. Turn to face the front, lead and return sequence. Inhale, arms widen overhead, flip the palms. Exhale, separate the palms. Inhale, arch from the upper back, keep the legs strong. Exhale, hips back, fold all the way. Inhale. Exhale, Utkatasana. Inhale. Hold the breath, chaturanga, knees may be down. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha, upward facing dog. Exhale, Adho Mukha, downward facing dog. Take 3 breaths, long exhales, double the length of the exhale. Optional bandhas at the end of each breath. Chin towards the chest. Gaze into the navel with the eyes closed. Try to extend through your shoulders. After your 3 breaths, inhale to plank pose. And very slowly lower on an exhale to the floor. Bring your forearms onto the floor with your elbows beside your chest and elbows in, not sticking out like wings, but the elbows close to the body and the hands sort of in line with the shoulders. Bring your forehead to the floor. Feet together. We'll do the Makrasana variation, crocodile pose. The gaze point in this sequence is Brahmadya, which is the third eye towards the center of the forehead, so the eyeballs are rolled up, looking up towards the center of the forehead. Exhale there. Inhale, lift your forehead, your nose, your chin, and your chest. Ground the top of your feet, push your pubic bone down. Look third eye. Exhale down. Inhale up. Slowly pull back on the hands so you can feel the spine lengthening. You're not feeling compression in your lower back. Get your elbows in more, Helen. Exhale slowly down. Inhale up. Hold the breath. Look third eye. Eyes closed. Exhale slowly down. Inhale up. Exhale, bend the knees, bring the heels to the buttocks. You stay up. You're in the upward position. Okay, everybody come down a minute. So listen carefully. Shoulders, hands are where they were previously. Inhale, lift up the front body, head and chest, elbows in. Stay there. Exhale, bend the knees, heels to the buttocks. So you feel in this sacral area, you feel compression. Inhale, straighten the legs. Exhale, lower the head and the chest. Second vinyasa. Inhale, come up again. Head and chest. Hold, exhale, bend the knees. Squeeze the heels down towards your buttocks. Pause. Heels to your buttocks. Yeah. And then inhale, straighten the legs. And exhale, lower. Inhale, bend both knees and hold the feet. Mandukasana, frog pose. Just hold the feet however you can. If you know how to do this and you're flexible enough and you can switch the hands round with the toes, fingers towards the toes, feel free. And then bring the heels wide enough so they'd go to the outside of the body, all the way to the floor. Hold the tops of the feet rather than the ankles, and squeeze the heels down towards the floor. So the knees have got to be slightly together, but the feet have got to be slightly wider, so they go down to the floor outside your hips. And then squeeze the heels down as much as you can, and inhale, lift your head and your chest up. As you lift your head and your chest up, stay there for 3 breaths, and on the exhale, squeeze your feet down more. On the inhale, lift your chest up higher. Avoid pushing your feet away from the buttocks. Push the feet towards the floor. Some of you are pushing the feet up as you lift the chest up. Do the opposite. Take one more breath there. That way. Yeah, you can do it like that. And then come down. So if you just open your knees a little bit, so you could get your feet, then you just be able to get your hands round a bit more and push down. Yeah, your hands have to go that way. So your hands are like this. So you hold your feet like that, and then you turn your hands, rotate your shoulders. I'll help you next time. Okay. Hands under the shoulders, inhale, little low cobra. And exhale, seat to heels, long back, down dog. Take a breath in the down dog. Did you all understand that makrasana? That posture we just did? Yeah? Well, one person did. That's good.
You weren't asking if you enjoyed it.
Oh, no, it's hatha yoga. You're not supposed to enjoy it. That's a modern misconception. You're supposed to transcend the feeling that you get from the practice. I find it very enjoyable, makrasana. I don't know why. What's the problem? What you have to do is, like, the harder it gets, the more you have to learn to enjoy it. And then inhale to plank pose. That's real old school. Just pretend I didn't say that. And then exhale, go back to downward facing dog, because I've now forgotten my train of thought. And then fully exhale and hop onto your shins. Sit on your shins in Vajrasana with your hands on your knees. So this is one of the little transitions you'll see between the back bending sequences. And so we've just done one back bending vinyasa. Now, makrasana up and down, makrasana up and down with the bending of the legs towards the buttocks, like all working differently on the back muscles and the spine and the sacrum. And then doing the frog pose, the mandukasana, squeezing the heels down. And as you squeeze the heels down, you lift the chest up so you look like a frog. And so that, in a way, in some ways, it's a bit of a counter pose to the other postures in a way. It kind of does something different. So that little sequence, after that, you do a vinyasa of some sort. And we're going to do a vinyasa which is from the meditative sequence, which is the one of the Vajrasana, which is the hero kneeling pose vinyasas. We've done this before, but you'll see I've put 2 in there. The other one is abdominal. Which one shall we do? So before we do anything, I'm going to tell you something about. So I just said that thing, which I always regret, that the harder it gets, the more you learn to like it. Yeah? So there is this thing which kind of like you have to understand about traditional yoga. Traditional yoga isn't designed really, like classical hatha yoga isn't designed as a feel-good practice. It's not about going to a yoga class and making you feel good and lovely. It's supposed to be a challenging practice. So we're not challenging ourselves by kind of like jumping through hoops and sweating like crazy and doing lots of really fast movement. We're challenging ourselves by working on inner energy. And that's why we're working slowly, and we're working with deep and different breath patterns and with bandhas and with mudras and all that kind of thing. So that is what the traditional hatha yoga was all about, and is still about. But the thing you have to understand is what yoga actually is. So the definition of the word yoga, mostly it's defined as union. And it's union between what and what? People are always saying it's union between the mind and the body. It's union between the individual soul and God. It's union between the jiva and the jiva mukta. It's union between the Atman and the para-Atman, the individual soul and the universal soul, etc. Between the individual and God. It's like this union thing. That's what yoga is. It's to unite something. But what are you actually trying to unite? So in the Hatha Yoga practice, the reason it's called Hatha Yoga is because it means Ha and Ta means sun and moon. It's uniting the sun and the moon. What are the sun and the moon? The prana and the apana. So the prana is the upward moving energy and the apana is the downward moving energy of which we're all made. And the idea of a Hatha Yoga practice is to unite those two pranas. So all your prana, like most of what's going on in the world and the way we live, it's about gratification, it's about stimulus, it's about being continually engaged, etc., etc., etc. You know the story. It's apanic. Consciousness and spiritual practice is pranic. It's upward moving prana. And so the purpose of what we do in a yoga class, which is Hatha Yoga, is to unite the pranas at a higher level so that the prana moving down doesn't dominate the consciousness moving up. And when those two pranas come into balance or in the body, what actually happens is then it starts to work more in the higher centers of perception. And the personality, the person changes gradually over time. The person changes as the prana changes. And that may manifest eventually in the unification of the individual and the universal soul, whatever that may mean, the individual with God. But from the point of view of actually how do you practice and what are you trying to do, those forces are actually prana. That's the thing you can work with because that's a tangible thing that is grounded in all our bodies. And that's why Hatha Yoga used this route to reach Raja Yoga, the yoga of kings, the yoga of unification with the divine. And to do that, you have to do some crazy stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? So you have to do a practice which is specifically designed to work on prana. So it's not about stretching, it's not about flexibility, it's not about health, it's purely about prana, energy. Byproducts are available, but that is why you're doing the practice. And sometimes the movement of that prana can be uncomfortable. It will wake things up in you, in your body and in your mind, because your body is full of granthi. Granthi means knots. It means blockages. Are you aware of any of those blockages? Do you have any pain? Do you have any stiffness? Do you have any limitations in your mind? Yes, this is the human condition. But the movement of prana that you create by the way you breathe and the way you move and the things you do in a Hatha Yoga practice, it's specifically designed to break down those granthis and free the prana in your body so it can flow free and up. And then you become body of light. That's what they call it. That's why it's called the book on Hatha Yoga is called the Hatha Yoga Pradipika. It means the body of light, and transforming your body into a body of light. That's a pranic body. Why was I telling you this? I can't remember. I have no idea.
You asked us if we were enjoying it.
Sorry?
You asked us if we were enjoying it.
That's it, yeah. Now hopefully now you'll enjoy it more. I'm not trying to help make you enjoy it. That's down to you. I'm just telling you, giving you the tools. Oh, God. Downward facing dog. See, there's some granties in there, aren't there? I want your ujjayi breathing. Exhale fully. Hold the breath out, hop or step forward, Utkatasana. Inhale, straighten the legs. Exhale, Uttanasana, fold. Flip the palms, inhale all the way up. Exhale, arms widen down, Tadasana. Let's come back to neutral for a moment. Take an inhale, looking into the heart. Take an exhale, looking into the heart. Inhale, arms widen overhead, flip your palms. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale. Exhale, Utkatasana. Inhale. Hop or step Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha. Exhale, Adho Mukha. Empty the lungs, bend the knees, hop or step, Utkatasana. Separate the knees, sit down, Dandasana. Inhale, arms over the head, Niralamba Dandasana. Exhale, don't move. Inhale, roll onto your back, arms over your head. If you're hitting the wall behind you, you won't have the room. You will be okay for now, but later on you'll need to move further away. Exhale, bring your hands to your sides. Shoulder stand preparation. Inhale, bend the knees. Hug the knees. Hold the wrists, interlock the fingers, or hold the elbows. Feet side by side, not cross. Exhale, draw the knees down to the chest. Completely empty your lungs. Inhale, push the knees away a little bit. Exhale, knees all the way down. Completely empty the lungs. Hold the breath out. Bandhas. Uddiyana Bandha, and lift strongly through the anal sphincter. Push the knees gently away. Third time, exhale, squeeze down. Get all the air out of the lungs like you did in the Uddiyana Bandha. Hold the breath out, squeeze. Lift Ashwini Mudra, anal sphincter. Squeeze it tight. Release the breath. Inhale. Exhale. Extend the legs on the floor. Inhale. Exhale, raise both legs. Keep the breath out, bring the heels to the floor, close to the buttocks. Inhale, lift the hips up. Feet to the floor, close to the buttocks. Inhale, lift the hips up, bridge. Exhale, buttocks to the floor. Inhale, legs straight up. Exhale, lower the legs to the floor. Inhale. Exhale, raise the legs. Heels to the buttocks. Inhale, lift the hips up. Sternum to the chin. Hold the breath in. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale, buttocks to the floor. Inhale, legs straight up. Exhale, lower the legs. Inhale. Exhale, raise the legs. End of the breath, heels are on the floor, close to the buttocks. Inhale, lift up, Setu Bandhasan bridge. This time hold for 3 breaths. Optional, hold heels, hold ankles, or hands on the floor. Deep inhales, eyes closed, look hard. On the final inhale, breathe in deeply, hold the breath for as long as you comfortably can. Ashwini Mudra. When you're holding the breath in, Ashwini Mudra, contract the anal sphincter. And when you need to, exhale, lower the hips to the floor and bend the knees to the chest. And then you can lift up from there, or if you prefer, you can straighten the legs onto the floor and come into shoulder stand. Your variation of shoulder stand, legs up the wall or seat on a block. I'm going to hold the shoulder stand for 6 breaths. When you get into the shoulder stand, close your eyes and look into the front of the throat today. Kanta, not Kantakupa. Gaze to the front of the throat so the throat's completely relaxed. Ujjayi breathing. Nice long exhales. Shouldn't be any tension in the throat or the face. Tongue's relaxed. When you've done your 6 breaths, slowly come down and roll over and come into child's pose. So you can just have your feet up, but have your seat on a block. You need a block. Oh, you got one? Okay. Yeah, a bigger one, really. But just leave it. Come into child's pose first. We'll look at that another time. Remind me to help you with it. Rest in child's pose. Okay, sit up and measure your elbows with the knuckles around the outside of your arms. Half headstand I'm going to talk you into, and then those of you who are familiar with full headstand, you just go ahead. But we'll all do half headstand together so your feet stay on the floor. Measure your elbows with the knuckles around the outside of your arms. Elbows no wider than your shoulders. Open your hands and interlock your fingers. Shape of the hands is round. Palms are vertical, wrists are vertical. Bring the head to the floor between the forehead and the crown. Not the crown, not the forehead, the bregma in the middle. Little tiny bit of space between the back of your head and your hands. Don't push your hands over with your head. Fingers are tightly interlocked at the top. Some of you have just let your hands fall open. Elbows too wide, Linda. Keep them under your shoulders. No, to get closer, they've got to be elbows under your shoulders, not wide. Yeah. Turn your toes under. Pick your knees up and pick your hips up and come into a down dog on your elbows. That's it. And then push into your forearms and lift your shoulders off the floor and so your head goes light. And then just walk your feet in a little bit and stay there and breathe. That's half headstand. If you're comfortable with headstand, come up. Push down into your forearms for all your worth. Control your lower abdomen, smooth your breathing out. Well done. If you're not really familiar with headstand, you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. Just do half headstands. If you were comfortable there, you're holding it for 12 breaths, twice the length of your shoulder stand, or as long as you comfortably can. Lift, shoulders up. Take the weight out of your neck. Well done. I'm going away now. You're fine. When you've done your 12 breaths, come down and rest in child's pose. Three breaths. Come onto your back and lift into shoulder stand. Good. Or you can rest if you want. Okay, get yourself settled in your version of the shoulder stand. Talk to me at the end, you need to be using more support, but you're okay for now, but we'll look at it. Inhale there, gaze is into canter, front of the throat, eyes closed. Exhale, legs wide. Try not to let the legs drop over towards your face. Keep them more in line with your spine. Push out for the balls of your feet. Inhale, feet together. Exhale, legs wide. Inhale, feet together. Exhale, soles of the feet together, knees wide. Keep the heels over your spine, over your perineum. Don't let them drop forward. Inhale, straighten the legs. Exhale, soles of the feet together, knees wide. Pause. Eyes closed, looking to the throat pit. Inhale, straighten the legs. Exhale, legs wide. Push out through the balls of the feet. Inhale. Exhale, toes to the floor with the legs wide if you can. Keep the legs wide if you can. Bring the toes over to the floor over your head. If they don't reach the floor, keep your hands on your back. If they do reach the floor, release the hands and hold the big toes. Push your hips up. Legs wide if you can. Wide, wide, wide. Good. This is the first variation. Push the hips up, hold your toes, push the backs of the legs up if you can. Good. And then bring the legs together, still holding the big toes if you can, or with the hands on the back, bring the legs together. Take a breath in plow. Long exhale. Take an inhale. And then if you can, with the arms still over the head, or the fingers interlocked above your legs, slowly come down, threading the needle, or keeping the hands flat on the floor over your head. If you need to do any other hand position to come down, feel free. Interlock your fingers, push your palms away, fold through it, slide down through your hands. Okay, come down now. Take a couple of breaths, bring the arms beside the body. Bend the knees, feet close to the buttocks. Inhale, lift your hips up. Interlock the thumbs under your back. Press the palms into the floor. Rock your shoulders under till your shoulder blades touch. Exhale, lower your buttocks onto your forearms with the palms flat and release the thumbs. Inhale, straighten the legs, lift the head and the chest, look at the feet. Lower the heels to the floor, drop the head back, top of the head to the mat. Good. Take 3 deep breaths with long inhales, short exhales, and then on the final third inhale, hold the breath in, expand the chest. Get the chest up, Lauren, can you get the chest up? You drop the head back. Just do what you can, it's fine. That's good, hang on. Let me give you a block. Put your head on that. Okay? Breathe high into the chest. When you've done your 3 breaths, come down. And now, if you had the time, would be the perfect time in the sequence you'd be doing, now doing Mahamudra. But relax in Shavasana. Feet wider than your hips, arms away from your body. Relax. Bring awareness into your feet and relax your feet. Relax your legs, hips, relax your back. Relax your stomach. All the muscles around your heart. Relax your left lung. Relax your right lung. Relax your chest and let go of breathing. Just let your body breathe. Relax your hands and your arms. Your shoulders and your neck. The whole inside of your mouth and your tongue. And let your jaw go loose. Relax your eyes. Relax your temples and your forehead. Relax your ears. Relax your nose. And relax the third eye. Just bring your awareness into your heart. Just hold your awareness there. And let go of your mind and your whole physical body. And completely relax. Deepen your breath. Bring your feet together and your arms by your sides. Inhale, arms over your head. Bend your knees, hug your knees. Make your way into a seated posture suitable for pranayama. So it's quite hot, so it's Shitali Pranayama, that we were doing last term. 2 minutes, so we can look into this a little more deeply. So you all remember the Shitali Pranayama where you roll your tongue and stick your tongue out? Has everybody done that? Could you just turn the lights on, Jane, as you're sort of halfway up, please? Some people at the back can see. They're just right in front of your face. Those straps are hanging on them. Turn them on full, otherwise they flicker. Lovely, thank you. Could you turn the all on full, otherwise these ones just flicker away and drive me mad.
I might get that job again.
That's it, yeah. No, that is your job now. So, Shitali Pranayama, remember there's two options. Option one is the rolling of the tongue and breathing in through that. But if you can't roll the tongue, then you just press the tongue to the roof of the mouth and slide it towards the top of the front teeth. You get the same effect. And Shitali Pranayama is a good way of developing Jiva Bandha. Jiva Bandha is where the tongue slides up across the hard palate in the top of the mouth into the soft palate, and then starts to slide up into the cavity behind the soft palate. And what you're actually doing when you're doing that is there's two things that are happening really. It's a prana exercise, kundalini exercise. What it's actually doing is it's concentrating the prana more in the third eye. So it encourages the prana, especially in retentions in pranayama, to move towards the third eye, the high Ajna chakra, which of course is the center for consciousness awakening. And the other thing it does is it stretches the frenum, which is the little tendon under the bottom of the tongue. And so as you do that more, the frenum gradually sort of stretches and gets longer. And so you can then stick the tongue up further into the nasal cavity. It's surprising how much difference it makes if you do it regularly. And the traditional, this is called, when it's done to its fullest extent, it's called Kachari Mudra. Some of you heard of Kachari Mudra? Kachari Mudra means the sky seal. And yogis, not just old yogis, new yogis, I know people have done this. They gradually sever the frenum. And in the old scriptures, they say use a piece of flint. And you cut the frenum a little bit gradually over a period of time until it releases the tongue, and then you can put the tongue right up and you can open and close the nostrils without using the hand. You can close them from the inside. And so that's probably not a good idea for most of us. But that is a full expression of what you're doing in Jiva Bandha. So Jiva Bandha is not a preliminary practice, it is a practice which is related to that. And Krishnamacharya really recommends Jiva Bandha, but he doesn't recommend cutting the frenum and doing any of the more extreme kriyas, just for your information. So, I mean, I know people who have done it, lots of old yogis do it, but I know somebody who did it they used cuticle scissors to pull the tongue up and gradually sort of clip it a little bit away. And it works. You can do it. It's possible. But what happens is if you don't keep doing the kachari all the time, it's sort of like a wound, and it gradually sort of heals, and then it can shorten even more because of the scar tissue. So it's got something that has to be managed. Why am I telling you this rubbish? I don't know. But because I find it fascinating, I suppose, yeah. So it's interesting to know this stuff about yoga. I mean, Hatha yoga is an extreme thing. There's lots of very extreme practices in Hatha yoga. And for the full-time practitioner, the ascetic, these practices are very valuable. But they're not really valuable to householders like us. So we do the simpler variation, which is called Jiva Bandha. So the way that works is I'm telling you, because in this particular pranayama, it works well because of the fact that when you've got your head back at the end of the inhale, when you lift the chest and bring the chin forward, it's a very natural feeling to slide the tongue across the upper palate and slip it into the soft palate. It works well with that action of bringing the chin down. And then it's easier to find it when you've got the head static in other pranayamas. That's why I'm telling you about it. So you can try it if it feels comfortable for you. Just keep doing it, and you'll find that gradually you'll get more comfortable with it. One thing I would say is if you're not used to it, it can produce a lot of saliva. So you just swallow the saliva, it's not a problem. Shall we try it? Jiva Bandha. Shitali pranayama. Okay, exhale. Protrude the tongue or push the tongue up. Inhale. Head back, close the mouth. Bring the chin all the way down to the chest as it rolls up. Close the right nostril with the thumb. Exhale slowly through the left, no sound. Shitali, inhale. This time, as you bring the chin down, slide the tongue up. Hold. Close the left nostril with the ring finger and exhale quietly through the right. Release Jiva Bandha. Protrude the tongue. Keep the chest up. As the chin comes down, slide the tongue up. Close the right nostril, exhale through the left. When you bring the chin down, don't let the chest collapse. The chest has to roll up to the chin. A lot of you are just rounding your upper back. And then continue. More Shitali, more Jiva Bandha if you're comfortable with it. Keep your hand in, this hand in Chin Mudra. Use your right hand to open and close your nostrils even if you're left-handed, and keep your left hand in Chin Mudra. Do one more and then release both hands to Chin Mudra. And sit very quietly with your eyes closed, your hands in Chin Mudra, your spine straight, and your mind on God, in whatever form God manifests for you, with your mantra or by visualizing a form. Or both. Om. Closing mantra, you need the Shanti path, path of peace, peace mantras. We'll do one verse, we'll do one line. This will be completely new to some of you, so we'll do one line at a time. Inhale for Om. Om. Asato ma sakamaya. Asato ma sakamaya. Tamaso ma joyti gamaya. Tamaso ma joyti gamaya. Mrityo ma amritam gamaya. Mrityo ma amritam gamaya. Sabesham swasti bhavatu. Sabesham swasti bhavatu. Sabesham shanti bhavatu. Sabesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sabesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sabesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sabesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sabesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Triambakam Yajamahe, Om Triambakam Yajamahe, Sugandhim Pushti Varanam, Sugandhim Pushti Varanam, Ovarukamiva Bandhanat, Ovarukamiva Bandhanat, Mrityo Mukshiyamamritat, Mrityo Mukshiyamamritat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Peace Peace Peace. Om Bolu Sakarus Bhagavan Ki Jai. Om Namah Shivaya. Remind yourself of the intention you made for your practice. Namaste. So, the one thing I would say about what I was saying earlier, about Hatha Yoga and all these high ideals and all the goals and the uniting the prana and the apana and all those sort of things, I want you to know that stuff. I want you to know what yoga is, but I've never united prana and apana. I am not an enlightened person. I have seen the face of God, but I'm not all the time. And one of the things I would say about yoga is, the beauty of yoga is that it's working on you even when you don't know it. So if you just keep practicing yoga, you might think that nothing's happening, but every little bit of practice you do is changing you. Every conscious breath you take is changing you. Every time you step onto the mat, you're changed. And that is incremental, often. Sometimes there's kind of spikes, and you'll notice them, but most of the time it's going on without you even noticing it. But if you keep going, if you just persevere with practice, which is what it's really all about, you just keep doing the practice, you will transform yourself. And that doesn't mean that you'll be the most flexible person, the most calm person, the kindest person, but you will be the absolute best version of you. That's what yoga can give you. Completely comfortable and at peace and at home in your own mind and your own body. It's a beautiful thing. But your personality will still be there, and your traits and your ups and downs will still be there. But they won't kind of impact on your world as much, your inner world. And that is freedom. It might not be full enlightenment. It might not be unification of your individual soul with God, but it's a transformation in your life which is tangible. And that's worth having. At the moment, I'm trying to unite myself with a really old Royal Enfield. And I'm not succeeding very well at that. So it takes time, it's not easy. But it's not, everything in life that is really worthwhile is not that easy. So do the practice, don't worry about the practice. And I did say earlier on that you're not supposed to enjoy it. Did I say that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the thing I would say about that is, it can be difficult at times, and that's okay. What you learn to do is you learn to enjoy the difficulty. So I really enjoy my yoga practice. Even now, after all these years, I still really enjoy my yoga practice, and I really enjoy teaching yoga, which is part of my practice. I really enjoy my yoga practice, but there are some days where I'd rather jump in a fire than do my yoga practice. It doesn't get any easier. It's really difficult to maintain. But if you bear in mind that you're not really ever doing it for yourself, you're doing it as an act of prayer and an act of service, you can get through the tough times. And then you will gradually reap the rewards of practice. And yoga will eventually ruin your life. Namaste. You're very welcome.